big thinking doesn't just start with, massive action or grand visions. It starts with you choosing to show up differently in the small, everyday moments. It's in, how you lead your energy, how you respond instead of react, and how you decide to see possibility where there once was maybe frustration or limitation. And when you start making those shifts consistently, honestly, your world begins to expand.
Hey there, this is Women on the Brink. I'm your host, Chris Jeffrey, a registered acupuncturist and wellness advisor with a passion for helping women live happier and more balanced lives. When I'm away from work, I'm usually outside in nature, either walking the seawall or I'm hiking in the mountains. And like many of you, my life has been filled with moments of hardship, some that I thought I couldn't overcome and really left me questioning my own strength. But through these challenges, I discovered resilience, courage, and a renewed sense of purpose. So I'm here to share not just my journey, but the lessons I've learned, and to remind you that no matter what obstacles come your way, there's always a path forward. And just to let you know, this podcast is not prescriptive. It's an offering. So please take what resonates with you and leave the rest.
Welcome to this week's episode of Women on the Brink. Today, I'm going to be introducing you to a topic that we're going to be looking at pretty frequently on this podcast. And this topic is called Unapologetically Big Thinking. Now, you may have realized that I really enjoy working with lots of different coaches, financial coaches, sexual health coaches, mindset coaches, because I know I still need to continue to break through some of the barriers and narratives that I have so I can live my best life. And yeah, I don't really want to be Beyonce or Meryl or even Margaret Atwood. I just want to be Chris Jeffrey all the way. But I do want the opportunities and freedoms that those women have. I guess it's what we all want, right? So we have to do a little mind shifting to get there. So today we're going to look at what's holding us back from having the joy and the fun and the adventure that we all want by getting really curious about ourselves. And this act of unapologetically big thinking can be just that. It can just be like a mere curiosity, or it can be a huge leap into the brink of greatness to see where you land. Let's face it, we're all at different stages of our personal growth because, we're each meeting different challenges at any given time. So just accept where you are and enjoy the ride. And if you're not feeling, that surge of optimism right now, that's totally okay. Things can shift, and sometimes they do much faster than you think. And honestly, I'm living proof of that. My life has radically changed today from where it was 2 years ago. So today I'm going to bring forth the work of Allison Bird. And if you haven't heard of her, she's a gem. She's a speaker and a coach who used to trash talk and shame herself and allow perfectionism and anxiety and people pleasing and all that other self-sabotaging habits to take over until she hardly even knew who she was. And she says that if you saw her during those times, you'd say she was positive and cheerful, but inside she was relentlessly beating herself up and frustrated that life never went her way.
Really?
This is kind of relatable for many of us, right? The hardcore truth is that inner peace and reinventing your life is a lot of fucking work. But so is living in shame and overwhelm and lack and scarcity and fear. And we all get to choose our hard. And Allison has a gift for demonstrating how to do this with more ease. And she actually inspired this episode's title, Unapologetically Thinking Big, because she doesn't believe in apologizing to anyone for deciding what it is she wants and then going after it. So neither am I. And neither should you. So, yes, Allison has had a tough life. She was raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs, a father that left when she was 4, and she became a high school dropout and worked at McDonald's. But this early exposure to, the realities of financial hardship and the demands of the working world really ignited her determination to seek a more fulfilling and prosperous path. And so through self-discovery, she embarked on a journey of personal growth and eventually became a celebrated business strategist and motivational speaker who charges a lot of money for what she does. Now, what I learned from Allison is this: it's not just about the breakthrough moments, it's about everything we've been through. This is what shapes us, the pain and the adversity and the hardship. We often want to, bypass or rush to what's pretty, to the polished success story. But it's really in the messiness and the struggle and the raw and the unfiltered journey that truly magnetizes the movement. So Allison says that every challenge, every setback, and every moment of doubt is part of what makes the victory meaningful. And, through it all, we remain worthy, not just of the breakthrough, but of overcoming every single step along the way. And I guess I identify with this so much because in my own life, growing up in a household where there was a lot of disconnect between my family members, I always felt alone and isolated and like I had to figure things out for myself because no one was advocating for me. So I think I developed a sense of hyper independence to the point where it became not really healthy for me. And, I'm from a generation where we didn't ask for help. It was almost shameful to ask for help. So when things were offered to me or an olive branch was extended, I was too vested in my shame to accept any help that other people wanted to give me. And of course, this only reaffirmed the narrative in my head that no one is there for me or I have to do it all on my own. And life is hard, which was my victim story and just one of the narratives I grew up with that I knew I had to change. Now, hearing Allison speak so openly about rewriting her own story made me realize how powerful it is to name those old narratives and consciously choose something new. And she talks about how transformation isn't about denying the past, it's actually about reclaiming it. And that really, really hit home for me. I used to think that if I just powered through something or pretended the hard stuff didn't matter, that I'd be stronger. But what I've actually come to see and what Allison really reinforces is that real strength comes from being tender with yourself, from witnessing those old wounds without judgment and then deciding this isn't who I am anymore and I want out of this story. And, that shift from shame to self compassion and from silence to self advocacy is where the real magic starts. So stay with us to learn the top 3 important steps to incremental transformation from the boss lady.
Join us on our website for articles from our podcasts at www.womenonthebrink.net. There you'll find extra tools that can be used to raise self-awareness and build resilience. We want to make this experience as interactive as possible for you Brinkers. So join the forums, introduce yourself, and share your stories.
So Allison Bird really embodies that boss lady energy, not just, success in the polished, Instagrammable sense, but in the real, raw leadership rooted in truth. And she doesn't even try to pretend that, success is linear or easy. She owns the struggle and she still shows up in her full power. And that is real boss lady energy. Rewriting the narrative, claiming your worth, and leading from a place of integrity and unapologetic vision. Oh, yeah. And honestly, that's what we're all being invited to do. It's not about perfection. It's all about power, the kind of power that grows in the the dark places, the cracks, in the climb, in the becoming. And because stepping into boss lady energy doesn't mean you've got it all figured out, it means you get to decide to show up for yourself, even when things are messy. It's like saying, I might be scared, I might still be healing, but I'm still going. And it's boundaries, it's owning your story, it's walking into a room and not shrinking to make others comfortable. So for me, boss lady energy started the moment I stopped waiting for permission. Permission to rest or to dream bigger, to say no and to take up that space. And let's be honest, many of us, probably most of us, were taught to make ourselves small or polite or agreeable. But that narrative is so damn old and dated, it's boring. Boss lady energy is about wholeness. It's softness and strength. It's strategy and soul. It's yin and it's yang. It's not about grinding yourself into burnout to prove your worth. It's about knowing you're worthy already, even in your stillness. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't feel like a boss lady yet, just let me say this. You already are. You don't need a 6-figure income or a title or a color-coded calendar to claim your power. You just need that inner, yes, I am done dimming my light moment, okay? And Allison says that the true elixir, the catalyst for real transformation, isn't found in big, dramatic breakthroughs. It's in the quiet, intentional choice to move through life with grace and ease and flow. And she calls this incremental manifestation. And it's not about forcing anything or forcing change, but allowing it to unfold through small and powerful shifts in how we show up. So today we're exploring how to consciously shift the energy, not just in our ordinary moments, but especially in the uncomfortable ones. The ones that feel really heavy or draining or, cause us to be low in energy.
What the hell?
Because you know what? It's even in those moments that we have the power. We have the choice to bring in more joy and kindness and love because, that's the point where true transformation really begins. So her process starts with pausing in the moment. So this is about noticing when you're out of alignment. Maybe you're rushing, performing, saying yes when, you really mean no, or feeling a bit cranky. And it's about just simply stopping. Just give yourself permission to exit from the autopilot. That's step one. And then the next piece is rewriting that moment. So this is where you name what you actually want to experience. So you might say, the experience I want with you is to be joyful or loving or kind. I want to hear you, I want to receive you, or I want to celebrate you. So in this step, you're actually taking back the pen and writing from your highest self and saying what it is that you want to have happen in that moment. So that brings us to step 3. And this is where we actually bring that vision to life. And so she challenges us to ask, what version of me has to show up to make this joyful or kind or loving? What ego or state of being do I need to embody? So maybe for me, it's patience or openness or calm or even courage. So here you need to identify who you need to be. And this isn't from a place of pressure. It's from a place of intention. Because being in your power and being in a state of receivership are not opposites. You get to lead and receive. You get to hold space for others and be supported yourself, okay? That's the magic. That's the elixir. That's the boss lady alignment. So I tried this out myself recently while grocery shopping. And when I got to the checkout, the cashier looked completely drained and tired and unhappy and basically just done with the day. And of course, my first instinct was judgment. Oh my God, she looks so miserable. But instead of staying in that mindset, I just paused and decided to rewrite the moment. So rather than ignore her or make assumptions about her, I chose to acknowledge her with kindness. So I smiled and I said, "Hi there. Has it been a busy day for you?" And just that small act of noticing her seemed to catch her off guard. So she looked up and she was kind of surprised that someone actually even cared. And we ended up having a short, friendly conversation. And by the time she rang up my flowers, she smiled and she said to me, "I'm giving you 50% off of these flowers." And I was really genuinely touched. And I told her how much that gesture really made my day. And honestly, I mean, I think we made each other's day. That simple shift to choose empathy over assumption transformed that entire experience. And it reminded me how powerful it is to show up as the version of myself that leads with kindness and connection. We actually talked about this kind of ripple effect before when we were exploring how raising our energetic frequencies can impact not just ourselves, but everyone around us. And Alison Bird takes that idea and applies it intentionally to both her personal and professional relationships. So she uses this practice as a way to maintain alignment in how she shows up, and not just for others, but also really for herself. So by pausing in a moment, rewriting it with clarity and love, and choosing the version of herself that supports that intention, she creates space for real connection and ease and flow. And it's not just about managing the energy in the room, it's really about elevating it. So everyone involved feels seen and more supported and more empowered. And you know what? This stuff I'm telling you, it is just, I see it as next level magic, honestly. It just changes everything. So I invite you to try this for yourself. Maybe start small, start where you are. Maybe it's with your kids when the morning rush is super chaotic, or maybe it's with a coworker who seems to push your buttons, or even with a frenemy who drains your energy just by walking into the room. Just pause in the moment. Ask yourself, what experience do I actually want to have here? And then choose to rewrite it with an intention. And speak from kindness, lead with curiosity, or maybe even just simply shift your energy to be more open and present. You might be surprised how quickly the dynamic changes. So, this simple practice of pausing and rewriting the moment and choosing who you want to be is truly the first step toward becoming an unapologetically big thinker. Because big thinking doesn't just start with, massive action or grand visions. It starts with you choosing to show up differently in the small, everyday moments. It's in, how you lead your energy, how you respond instead of react, and how you decide to see possibility where there once was maybe frustration or limitation. And when you start making those shifts consistently, honestly, your world begins to expand. And, from that place of clarity, intention, and self leadership, you're no longer just surviving your life, you're creating it boldly and unapologetically.
Thanks for joining. And I want you to know that this isn't just a podcast, this is a movement. So share this information with your friends and let's go, ladies.